Lightpath is a leading provider of next-generation optics and imaging systems for both defense and commercial applications. So with me is CEO Sam Rubin. Sam, great to get caught up on what Lightpath has been doing. And let's start with that acquisition in
Yeah,
February of G5 Infrared. Tell me about that and why that was important for the business.
great. Good to be here again, Jane, and thanks for having me over. Yeah, Lightpath over the last 5 years has been in a transition from a pure component company that was really, on the low end of the complexity of products, if you would, making individual lenses and components very commoditized with a lot of price pressure, to become a vertically integrated manufacturer of systems, of imaging systems. The acquisition of G5 is a major step in that way. G5 Infrared is a leading company in making infrared or thermal cameras, if you would, for long-range imaging, detection of objects from a very far distance. And with the acquisition of G5, Lightpath is going to nearly double its size this year and add some very significant product lines that today, with everything going on in the geopolitics and the defense world, is key to a lot of the growth needed in the market.
Well, that's what I was just going to ask, the applications for G5. So you mentioned defense. Where do you see those like real world applications happening?
Yeah, so G5 is really the leader in long distance imaging. So when you image in the long distance, you can't do it using visible light cameras. So you just can't see to the distance you need. It has to be in thermal imaging. And you're talking here about detecting objects from tens of miles away, detecting a person from 30 miles away. I mean, those are incredible capabilities. And as you can imagine, our mind immediately goes to all these stories about drones. We can't detect drones. We don't know where they're coming from. Border patrol, illegal immigrants, or different players coming near the borders that you want to know them, see them in advance. These cameras are the leader for that. And so the ability to detect a drone coming in is something that is really key to everyone today.
Wow.
And is being driving the business now considerably.
No, that's very interesting because I hear that drones are the future of warfare. So, to be able to detect those is going to be crucial to the future. And there's a counter drone camera system for L3 Harris that will be installed on naval vessels. So explain
Yeah.
the role of Lightpath in that and how that's important as well.
Yeah, so one thing I think the world has learned, well, a few things we've learned from the conflict in Ukraine, right? As you pointed out, the drones are becoming as a main battle tool today, or a main battle tool. But also as important is, how do you detect them? In Ukraine, we learned the hard way that if you turn on your radar to try and detect a drone, you become a target immediately, because the enemy can detect your radar signal and it literally tells them exactly where you are. And so you can't do that with active measures like radar and such. So you have to be able to detect the drone passively without giving away your location. Thermal cameras are really the leading way to go about this. And so the Navy, with the Spear program, is starting this year. L3 is starting to deploy cameras that will go on naval surface vessels. And throughout the lifetime of the program, the goal is to deploy those cameras on every single surface vessel of the Navy. Hundreds of vessels are going to have now, each of them, cameras that are looking 360 degrees around to see incoming threats like drones or missiles or other boats coming nearby very quickly without turning on a radar that gives away your location.
Very interesting. And then the border as well is one area that you're working in, the G5 cameras. So explain what they can do at the borders.
Yeah, so G5 provides Elbit of America the cameras that go onto towers along the border. And so this project has been in the works for a few years now. And with the current administration, the indication is that it's going to grow even further. The goal of this project is to have unmanned towers every few miles along the border that are constantly looking for incoming potential, cars or individuals coming near to the border to potentially cross the border or do some threat. And so these systems are going to integrate AI in them and are going to integrate some offline ability to work and constantly monitor and stare at the border or even beyond the border to detect those threats, but without needing a person sitting there watching the monitors all the time. Because when you're talking about something as big as our southern border or even our northern border, you're talking about hundreds of cameras. You can't have people sitting there watching hundreds of monitors 24/7. It just doesn't work. So AI is going to play a major role there. And again, a place where the G5 cameras are going to play a major role in providing the technical ability to even see what's going on.
Wow, Sam, absolutely fascinating how you're on the cutting edge of all these changes geopolitically and how technology is playing in the future for defense as well. So, really interesting.
It's an incredible time to be where we are, and we're so lucky that we've become a company that just 5 years ago, 8% of our revenue was defense, and now it is over 60% and growing. And so
Very.
we're at the right place at the right time.
All right, Sam, thank you so much for updating us. And I look forward to the next time we speak.
Thank you, Jade.
Thank you.